Hello, friends, and welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. I'm your host, Tom Downey, here with our next installment of some fan rumors. I love what you guys have to say, so let's break down some of your ideas and opinions, some good ones as well this week. First up from Jace Marin says, I think they need to draft a new left tackle in the second round and move Smith to the right, because he's not a great blocker in the ground game, not so much in the passing game. I don't necessarily disagree with the idea of getting another tackle. I think you'll see the Cowboys draft at least a swing guy at some point this year. I don't know if the answer is to move Tyron to right tackle, though. So I'll only give it 1 star. A couple different reasons. Number one, when healthy, Tyron still plays really well. I will continue to say that until things change in my eyes. So I don't think it's the move to right tackle, but I do worry about his long-term health. That's a big red flag to me. But here's my counterpoint. Maybe you just put Connor Williams at left tackle. That's what he played at Texas. That's what I liked him coming out of, though I think he can play left guard still. Maybe that's your option in the end there for the Cowboys. So I'm open to it. I just don't think that the desire right now is to get a guy early, per se. I think you're going to hope for Tyron to get healthy again, but it is something to monitor going forward. Now, folks, all of these fan rumors are from our Cowboys Report YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. So if you want to have some of your questions and comments featured, you got to subscribe there, youtube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. All right, next up from Chop Chop says he wants to draft Noah Fant, thinks he can get him cheap and has potential. I agree with the idea of drafting Noah Fant. I love the kid. He's immensely talented. He's going to be my top tight end in this year's draft class. And he's a classic athletic move-type tight end, exactly what the Cowboys need. But I'm only going to give it 2 stars because as much as I love the idea, it's a 4-star idea. I don't know how realistic it is, namely because I don't think he'll fall to Dallas in round 2. And it's a deep tight end draft class, so maybe he does. I don't think it's all that likely. So in the end, I think you'll see the Cowboys take somebody else. And by the way, TJ Hawkinson, the other Iowa tight end, might be higher on the Cowboys board because he tends to fit that Jason Witten type mold as a little bit better of a blocker. So should Dallas draft another tight end this year? Type Y for yes, type N for no. It's a great class. It's a need. I think the answer is yes. All right, next up from Michael Kennedy, wants to sign Earl Thomas in free agency after I think he means the free agency comp period is over. Screw the Seahawks in the process. Love the idea, but there's 0 chance to happen, so I got to give it fake news. Or Michael, although +1 there, and I upvoted it for the idea itself. The Cowboys will make a run at Earl Thomas, but Thomas will not wait until after the compensation period because he wants to get paid. Waiting doesn't benefit him. He wants to get that money early, create a bidding war early at the beginning of free agency, and sign it quickly. So I like the idea. I really do. I just don't think it's realistic at all. But should the Cowboys sign ET in free agency, maybe you guys want to stick with Xavier Woods. I say, why not both? You can afford Earl Thomas and Tank and Amari and all those other guys still. I say go sign Earl Thomas. Get yourself that truly dynamic playmaker in the back end. Byron Jones has shut down corners, but he's not really a ball hawk. Earl Thomas gives you that ball hawk in the secondary. Next up from Eric Middleton says Rico Gathers needs to start on the Cowboys roster. If you're talking right now with SWAIM out, I'm open to it. If you're talking over SWAIM, I disagree. So I'll give it 2 stars. And as I'm sure many of you guys know, I have been called a Rico hater many a time. So I think I can come with a sense of neutrality here and unbiasedness when I say the Cowboys' usage of Rico Gathers has been embarrassing. It doesn't make any sense the way the Cowboys have used Rico. So let's break down all the tight ends and their snap counts this year. SWAIM, of course, has been your #1 guy. He's sitting there pretty close to 50-50, not quite 50-50, but we'll kind of call it that. So that's how you're going to use tight ends, right? Your Cowboys, for the most part, get close to a 50-50 balance, a little bit more passes here. That's okay. Blake Jarwin, meanwhile, has the highest percentage of routes run among Cowboys tight ends, sitting there at almost 54%. Because that makes sense, right? Let's keep using Blake Jarwin as our offensive guy at tight end, even though it's literally never been his role at college football or the NFL. He has never been an elite pass catcher that the Cowboys keep trying to make him out to be. Doesn't make sense. Dalton Schultz, meanwhile, actually blocks a ton. Now, I think part of that is a lot of 2 tight end sets and 3 tight end sets, kind of like Rico, we'll get to in a minute. But Dalton Schultz, especially in recent weeks, has emerged as the replacement for SWAIM. Blake Jarwin now, almost only passing downs. I hate it. Rico Gathers, meanwhile, a nice even 100 snaps, 30% have been pass plays. Why? Doesn't make sense. Now, Rico's size does give him an advantage in the blocking game, and frankly, and I'll point this out as well, he's been better blocking this year. Now, there's been some buzz that he doesn't quite fully grasp the playbook and the nuances because that's very tough to do. But give Blake Jarwin snaps to Rico Gathers. It can't be this hard, right? Who would you rather have on 3rd and 7 on the field, Blake Jarwin or Rico? It's a no-brainer. Give them to Rico. Blake Jarwin has been a huge disappointment in my eyes. Rico, when he's been on the field, has actually looked pretty good at times. The blocking isn't always perfect, but he's done well. He should have one TD because he got open and Dak just missed him. He hasn't had a target, by the way, since week 7. What are we doing? Rico's this great offensive piece, potentially, and the Cowboys won't use him in that way. I just don't understand anymore. If he's going to have to be on the roster and play as a blocker, why can't you have him go out in the passing game? It just doesn't make any sense at all to me. All right, folks, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI. Chatsports.com/bet is the site. Promo code is Cowboys120. Gets you a 120% deposit bonus. Put down $50, they're going to give you $60. Put down $100, they'll give you $120. Easy math there. Put down $500, they'll give you $600 extra dollars to bet with on BetDSI. But you got to use that promo code Cowboys120. Christian E here says Noah Brown could be like another Shannon Sharpe. I like the role that Noah Brown has carved out for himself. He's found that role and done it well as almost a tight end wide receiver hybrid, frankly, kind of cutting, I think, to some of Rico's snaps. But Shannon Sharpe comparisons? It's a little unfair. I'm going to have to give it the fake news there, Christian. I like what Noah Brown does, and this is not a knock against Noah Brown, but comparing him to a Hall of Famer isn't setting him up for any success. Now, yeah, they're kind of similar body types and actually are both 7th-round picks, but we're talking about 5-catch, 55 yards Noah Brown. There's a role for him. 20 snaps a game, I think, is a good number for him. I just have a tough time seeing Noah Brown become a Hall of Famer. If you want to call him a broke man's Shannon Sharpe, and I mean like really broke, and Michael Scott declared bankruptcy 3 different times, then maybe we can have that talk. But I think a Shannon Sharpe Hall of Fame comparison isn't really fair. All right, Forever DC here, and this is about Kliff Kingsbury, says no on Kingsbury as the OC because he points out that offenses are much more pass-friendly and not enough run there because that's the Cowboys. And he also, by the way, suggests a quarterback coaching role for Kliff Kingsbury. There's a lot of good stuff in here that I actually do agree with. I'll give it 2 stars, and here's why. Good points that this is an air raid style offense under Kliff. I will say, though, I think that he's smart enough to recognize that he has to get the ball in his playmaker's hands. And he ran the ball more when Jet Duffy was in at quarterback, for example. So I think if you put Kliff on the Cowboys, he wouldn't force an air raid style offense. I think the passing game would take a step forward, but they would still run the ball a lot more than the Tech offenses have. As for the NFL quarterback coach job, I'm on board, but I think that Kingsbury will have interest, I'll say, for NFL OC jobs and college OC jobs. I think he'd take both of those before he went to the Cowboys as a quarterback's coach. All right, guys, I'm wearing a Mizzen and Main shirt, and trust me, you will not find a more comfortable dress shirt, or any shirt, really, than a Mizzen and Main shirt. Comfortable.af is the website. Go check them out. They provide all of my clothing here on the Cowboys Report. All right, next up here with our last Cowboys fan rumor from CJP 2003. He says, is Darth Vander Defensive Rookie of the Year worthy? He thinks he is and thinks he should be. I agree. Vander Esch 100% deserves Rookie of the Year consideration. Frankly, he's been better than I think everyone else thought. Look, I gave the pick a C because I wanted the Cowboys to trade down and get another linebacker as well, potentially, be it Vander Esch or Rashaan Evans, for example. And I thought that he was still a little bit raw when it comes to diagnosing and developing and just being a football player because he hadn't had much experience. Turns out I was wrong. Vander Esch out there looks like a 5th-year pro for whatever reason. Great job by Vander Esch there. Very impressed by how well he has done. But in terms of getting the consideration, 100%. In terms of actually getting it and winning the award, that's where things get a little bit trickier because typically off-ball linebackers don't always win. And in reality, as great as Vander Esch has been, he might not even be the best off-ball linebacker this season. Darius Leonard, another guy that I kind of missed on in the draft, has been great for the Colts, has more tackles, and leads the NFL in tackles. Derwin James has played great. Bradley Chubb has 9 sacks. I think somehow flying under the radar. So I love what Vander Esch does. Go vote for him for a Pro Bowl, by the way, because he deserves that. But I think he's going to have a tough time actually winning. If Bradley Chubb finishes with like 11 sacks, I think he'll end up winning. So Vander Esch, 100% worthy of it. I just don't think he's actually going to end up getting the award. All right, folks, that does it for us. Stay tuned later on the week for some more Cowboys Report.